Hashem Aleinu Berahamav Yarviah. Starting another class of mesilat yesharim. Ramchal Haram Shachaim Nasato. Shisham Purim Katan. Inematov Manaim. So there's a question that we discussed last time, that how much a person can tolerate competition in life. Could be in business, could be in college, could be at home. When do you think, at what age or what stage of life we first hand experience competition? When? At childhood. At childhood, from your sibling at home, and then competition in the classroom, then in competition in the neighborhood, then competition in business, and competition in family. You will be surprised that some people feel competition with own spouse, husband and wife. Some people will feel competition even with their own children. Let's say the father pay a little bit attention to the children, the wife gets offended. Father or mother pay attention to each other, children get offended. We feel competition no matter what in our life. And we experience it from childhood. And to tell the truth, that was the first problem that Cain and Hevel had. Cain felt competition that Hevel is taking too much attention from Hashem. Even though he was the first one who brought the Korban, he introduced the idea of Korban, thanking Hashem, but Hevel got into favor of Hashem because he brought the better Korban. And Cain couldn't take it. That how come I was the first one who started, but he was the one who got accepted. I was the one who told him about this company. He got a better credit. He is doing better business than me with this company. We feel competition. So Ramchal categorized, as we discussed before, three different perspectives, three different expectations. One, a person who expects maximum from himself. He said, you know what? I've got to be the best. I have to try my maximum. I have to do 100%. His shelemut, his completion is uncompromised. He cannot settle for less. He said, either I do it the best, either I don't do it. And he's the person that is always successful. Why? Because he's not looking for any shortcut or cutting corners. Okay, Pesach is coming, I want to do the best. Shabbat is coming, I want to do the best. Kashrut, I don't want to just do less. Completion, I want to have a perfect shoe, perfect clothing. I don't want to be anything missing. There is a second category who is, you know what, happy with less. As the example Ramchal brought. It's not that much crazy to have a big part in Olam Haba in Gan Eden. He's happy even to have a small part. And that's how he convinced himself. I'm not a rabbi, I'm not religious, I don't have this, I don't have that. As long as Kippur, Shabbat, Pesach, I do some mitzvot. That's also good. Of course, Chas v'shalom, I'm not going to go married to a goy, but my Judaism also doesn't have to be 100% as long as I keep the main mitzvot. as long as I keep the main mitzvot. So he's happy with less. He's not aiming for 100%, for maximum. He's not expecting too much from himself. So Ramchal says, listen, it's your choice, but I have a news for you. And what is it? You are compromising now, but you're gonna suffer later. How? Because assuming, for example, in your business, in your neighborhood, in your family, someone comes better than you. Someone that you were classmate before, now is ahead of you. Someone who was working for you, now open up the business, more successful. Don't you feel jealous? And don't you feel under pressure of the competition that someone is better than you, someone ahead than you, people pay more respect to him than you? Obviously, it bothers you. Especially that you say, we were classmates, we started together. You see where he got to? If the competition is bothering you in this world, competition is going to bother you much in the next world. Why? Because when it comes to the next world and you see people who didn't have that much opportunity like you and still done in such a good place in Gan Eden or higher than you, is going to let you suffer. And that is going to be adding to the suffering of Gehinnom. So he said, don't say, I'm okay with this mitzvah, I'm okay with that mitzvah. How come when it comes to business, you are not happy with minimum, you always aim for maximum? Same thing when it comes to Torah. You have to say, if I could be better, why not? If there is more to learn, why not? If there is more to do, why not? You should not. Why? Because if you don't compete in this world, you cannot compete in the next world, and the competition is going to bother. So he says, "Ve'im yir'eh havero mitromem v'hu nish'ar shafel." How much more so? Not only your friend is more successful than you, especially if he is successful and you're not at all, then how much is going to bother you? Vadai shema sheyisbol hu ma sheyukhrach lisbolo ki lo yuchal limnoa ulvavo asher bekirbo, and he's going to be in pain inside. Why? Because he sees that his competition is growing and he's falling behind. Me'ata im kach kashe alehen liyot shefalim mizulatan. So therefore, if it's hard for us in Olam Hazeh, in this world, which we know is Hevel Havalim, everything is fake, everything is artificial, nothing is true, and still it bothers us, b'ma'alot hamedumot v'hakozvot. If in this game of life, which we know is nothing, still it bothers us. Why? He won and I lost. She'en hashiflut b'hem ella lefanim, and what you see here is not real, just surface, artificial. Velo hahinase ella shaveh v'sheker, and no one really gets to anywhere because everything is shav v'sheker, is false. If in this such a small game it bothers us if someone wins, how much more so in the real game of life, which is Olam Haba, is gonna bother us. Ech yuchlu lisbol sheyiru asmam שפלים יותר מאותם האנשים עצמם אשר הם עתה שפלים מהם. And this, I tell you, it happens a lot. For example, you have a family, let's say, of 20 people. Mom, dad, uncle, aunt, children. That's a family of 20 people. They are very traditional. They keep mitzvot, they keep very traditional. All of a sudden, one of the family members, cousins, aunt, uncle, someone, it becomes more religious. It becomes more religious. Now everybody become a team against him. Listen, we also Jewish, we also kept Torah, we also this. Why you want to be ahead of us? Why you want to do more mitzvot? Why you want to become more religious? This, that. They try to team up that 19 people to stop this one person. Why? Because it's becoming competition. Is coming more than us. If we are all in the same level, doesn't matter. If someone goes even lower, that still doesn't matter. But someone goes higher, that we can't take. Competition. Why? Because if you become better, means I'm wrong. If you become more religious, means I'm less religious. If you're keeping more, means I'm keeping less. So in order not to get any blemish or anything, any label, I rather you also stay here. Don't go up, don't grow. Stay in the same boat. But I tell you, if one of these family member wants to become scientist in NASA, high position, college, university, this, that, 20 years of research. They say, what? Sure, go ahead, do it. Wow, they're proud that one of their family is a scientist, is that high position. How come when it comes to Gashmiot, you even encourage your children, your family to be more educated than you? But how come it comes to religion, you encourage them to stay the same level of orthodoxy or religion or whatever? How come it bothers you? In a spirituality, to be better if they are better than you. So this is what Ramchal is pointing out to us. Okay, if here in this world you could say something, but in next world you can, and all is going to be a pressure. So why you want to make your life limited by limiting yourself? Obviously, it's good to always do the best, but don't limit yourself. Say here, I'm religious, I'm Jewish, I'm Orthodox, up to this much here. Yes, I mean, some people, some families, some parents, they used to tell me, Baruch Hashem, I don't think they do it again. They said, I told my children, you don't bring non-kosher food to my house. Outside, I don't care. But in my house, you don't bring. As if she thinks is somehow stopping them to have non-kosher by not bringing in the house. But outside, Khoda dige bebakshid. Why we limit ourselves up to here? I don't bring non-kosher to my house, but outside, I understand. Might be exemption. I don't do this in front of my children, but not in front of my children, might be okay. Why do we limit ourselves that up to this much is enough? I'm not saying me and you, all of us, from today, we're going to go ahead and become a multi-ultra, we might still continue the same lifestyle. But we should know, instead of suffering from competition later, let's get encouragement from competition now. That's called kinat sofrim tarbe chokhmah. Once I see someone ahead of me in Torah, in mitzvot, I get heshek, I get the desire and motivation. Why shouldn't do it also? I want to be like them too. You see how much they're enjoying their Shabbat, how much they're enjoying their kibbut avaim, honoring their parents and this and that. I want to also do that. Why we should think, حالا اینم برای ما ملا شده. حالا اینم برای ما مذهبی شده. فلان بسا. Why we should put them down in order not to feel guilty enough inside. So it says Haram. This second category, he is not aware that by limiting himself here, he's limiting his growth of the Nishamayim, and whoever higher than him will be a competition. שאף על פי שעכשיו אין ממרים אותו ואת אורכו, אין מכירים אותו ואת אורכו, על כן לא יחושו אליו. אבל בזמנו ודאי שיכירו לעמיתו לשערם ולבושתם, ודאי שיראו להם זה אלא שער גדול ונצחי. So הרי לך שאין הסבלנות הזה אשר הם דורשים לעצמם להקל מהם חומר העבודה אלא פיתוי כוזב שמבטא יסרם אותם ולא דבר אמיתי כלל. You understood what I said, correct? Okay. So you see that this tolerance and willingness to receive only a small share of heavenly reward that they are advocating for themselves in Shamayim in order to ease from themselves the weight and the pressure of the divine service, the Avodat Hashem on Mitzvot, that they دلشون خوش میکنن میگن بارو هاشم حداقل ما اینم رو نگه میداریم بارو هاشم که we have a small portion in Gan Eden بارو هاشم این دلگرمی که به خودشون میدن که خودشون رو معاف بکنن از میثوات بعدی با یکی دوتا میثوات مشغول هستن is not making life easier for them. Ela pitui. This is just a false delusion with which the evil inclination is enticing them. Don't worry. You also have a portion in Olam Haba. You forgot, you made that shidduch, you forgot, you helped that old person. You also do mitzvot. So what? Are learning, doing mitzvot, this, that. You also do. Don't worry, you also have some share in Olam Haba. Velo davar amiti klal, and this is not true at all, and it's not a valid argument. This is nothing that you want to get tricked by. So it says, don't fool yourself. Don't compromise gold for copper. چجور سر بچه ها رو کلا میذارن؟ شما موقعی که میخواین بچه گول بزنین چجور گول میزنین؟ برافو. یه آب نباتی دهنی بیا نامسه رو بهت میدم فلان. چیزی که الان به دهنش مزه میده رو بهش میدیم که الان گول بخوره. اون ساعته یا اون کامپیوتره یا هر چیز ارزشمندی که دستش رو ازش بگیریم. ساتان هم همین کارو با ما میکنه. میگه یا کن حسن تو فلان کنیسا تو فلان تمپل تو فلان سنتر مگه نیدی از چقدر تو اون دینر تعریف کردن. That's good enough بابا تو هم آدم خوبی هستی. So why you want to become a ultra or whatever 100%. That's good enough. یا عالم مردم همه از تعریف. This is just a cream on the cake. The main cake is when you really do the mitzvot. So don't fool yourself with minimum. Always try to go higher. قبلا مثال آوردیم اینایی که تو خیابون دارن جاگ میکنن تا میرسن به یه چهارراهی که قرمز نمیتونن وسط خیابون بدوئن چون ماشین داره میاد چیکار میکنن؟ درجا میزنن. هنوز این حرکت خودشون رو نگه میدارن که سرد نشن تا یه بار جام صاف شد بازارش شروع میکنن اتمام. So we don't have to stop ourselves. Let's say Kenisa is closed now, is late. I got there to the class late. We don't have to stop ourselves. We still can continue. We just said something very interesting this morning in our class. That what do we see in this week's parasha? This week's parasha, one of the major events is luchot, that they get broken. Shiva Sarve Tammuz. Moshe Rabbeinu comes, Egel HaZahav, and luchot, they get broken. Moshe Rabbeinu comes and kind of begging Hashem, please forgive them. Hashem says, no, I want to destroy them. They don't deserve it. I want to make a new nation from you. Moshe Rabbeinu says, no, please give them another chance. And so on and so forth. Hashem said, okay. I'm going to forgive them. Go, go make another tablets, luchot, which I could write and give you the Torah again. And this ketubah would be like a marriage between us and Hashem. Right away, when Hashem forgive and give Moshe Rabbeinu and Bnei Israel another chance, what was Moshe Rabbeinu request? Hashem, you know what? Up to now, I was by the gate of the palace. Now I want to come inside. I want to see you. Show me your glory, your kavod. I want to come face to face. Till now, I was talking to you without seeing you. Now I want to see you. Moshe Rabbeinu, you just did teshuvah. You just got your kind of forgiveness from Hashem. You asking more? Rashi says yes. Once is a et ratzon and Hashem is in the good mood, you should ask more. You should not go back after the teshuvah after Yom Kippur, the same level of Jewishness that you had. Now that Hashem gave you opportunity, He accepted your teshuvah and gave you another chance, I want to go higher. Till now, I was talking to you, Hashem. Now, I want to come see you. So we see that we should not let any avera that we do lower our level. On the contrary, we did the avera, we did the teshuvah. Now I want to go even higher. I don't want to go back to the same level I was before. I want to go higher. I was keeping 65% Shabbat. Now I want to keep 70%. I want to keep 75%. So we see that the second category, Ramchal is saying what? Don't let your Yetzer Hara to trick you and say, you're already keeping 60%, 65%. Shabbat. What else you want? You see, Hashem also forgave you. He gave you another chance. So, Ukhva lo haya makom lepituz elahim lula haya ro'in amitat ha'inyan. And why Satan or Yetzer Hara use our mitzvot against us? Remember, you saved someone's life. That's good. I don't think there's any more better than Sadiq than you. You are so Sadiq. Why Yetzer Hara use our mitzvot against us because he knows that our middah, one of the middot that we have is atzlut, laziness. And we are happy with minimum. We don't want to grow more than what we are, as long as there is no competition. Someone told me when she was in California as a single girl, she was so zealous, make sure everyone to keep the Shabbat kosher, and even she was fighting, she was committed. But she said, when I got married and I came here, I don't know, to New York, what happened? I'm not that zealous, that kind of now serious about mitzvah. I said, it's very simple. Over there, you were going against the whole wave, the community. That's why you felt good thing about yourself, that I'm bigger, I'm better than them. That gave you motivation to kind of feel higher. But here, you are the same, might be even less. They are more religious than you. You're in an environment that you find people higher than you. That gives you a little bit of sense of competition. And since you don't want to get into the challenge of competition to become higher, you rather to say, you know what, that's also good enough that I do. That's also good. That's also good. And you kind of happy with the minimum. And that's why you don't get that type of good feeling that I'm higher than others. You see, no, you are lower than others. That's why it does not give you motivation. So it says Ramhan, if we had a chance to feel the real level and the truth of Torah and ourselves and our neshama, we would have never settled for less. We would have never get tricked by Yetzer Hara. There would never be a basis for them to fall to his superiors enticement. I mean, false enticement, if they would only see the truth of the matter. If I know really how the gold look like, I would have not exchanged it with copper, because I would realize right away, this is copper, it's not true, it's not gold. But since I never tasted or never did it, I never had experienced gold, easily I could do what? Give in and accept copper as a gold. And unfortunately, those who have a less Jewish background and they live in the environment with the minimum Jewish observance, Kippur, Rosh Hashanah, Tisha B'Av, Pesach, this few items, mitzvot, it was the highlight of Torah, of Judaism. When they come across reform movement, conservative movement, that they also have something similar, Kippur, Rosh Hashanah, Pesach, something like that. Since that's what they knew about Torah, right away they joined them, because this is how they were raised, with a minimum. But those who had the rich background and they knew there was much more mitzvot and halachot into Torah, not just few, right away they see, oh, something over here is tricky. Sorry, don't offer. They realize, because they know how the gold look like. They will not accept the copper. They will not accept the minimum. So lack of education, lack of lilmod ululamed, knowledge of Torah, unfortunately, bring us to accept something for less. And I kind of end with this idea. If Bnei Israel were worried about Moshe Rabbeinu after 40 days and 40 nights that Moshe Rabbeinu was away, and all of a sudden, for 6 hours delay, they got worried. What happened to Moshe Rabbeinu? And they all wanted to replace Moshe Rabbeinu. They lost their leader. Why they replaced golden calf for Hashem? They didn't lose Hashem, they lose leader. So they could ask for another Navi. They could ask Aharon. Isn't it many times in the Midbar they said, Naaseh Rosh, let's make a leader and go back to Misraim. They were full of a lot of leaders over there. They could have appoint someone, new election here. You become a leader, Moshe Rabbeinu is not here. Let's go. Why they had to get into building idols, golden calf against Hashem? Why they wanted to replace Hashem? Because the only connection that they had with Hashem was through Moshe Rabbeinu. The only connection that they had to Hashem was only in Kenisa. They step out of the Kenisa, they are totally different people. Until they are in Kenisa, yes, they feel or they're connected to Hashem. A minute they go out of the Kenisa, as if Hashem left in the Kenisa. Their connection was not personal. Moshe Rabbeinu always was in the middle. As we see in Parshat Yitro, after 2 commandments of Aseret HaDiberot, they came to Moshe Rabbeinu, they said, sorry, we can't take it anymore. Please, you hear it and you tell us, it's too much for us. The only connection they had to Torah was through that rabbi. That rabbi goes to different town, they lose connection to whole Torah. They never built personal connection to Hashem, personal connection to Torah and Mitzvot. Therefore, until the rabbi is there, until the Kenisa is there, until they are in the environment, they connected. They go out of the area, reception is disconnected. There is no Wi-Fi, there is nothing. So that was the problem. They couldn't have the personal connection. They felt only through others. And that's what Ramchal said. Until you don't build your own connection to Hashem, you cannot know the truth of Torah. And that's why until you have all these agents around you to connect you, today this agent, tomorrow that agent. Now you see many people, especially young generation, they go to Taiwan, they go to India, they go here to become spiritual, to meditate, to get inner peace. Why? Because they never found Hashem in their life. They always had someone in the middle. So now that middleman lost, they're looking for different middleman, different salesperson. The company is here. You could call them up and build your own account. You could have a direct delivery from the company. What do you need a middleman? And pay him the commission, this, that. No, you know what? I don't think I'm that level. I'm not that religious. I'm not this. I'm not that. We bring excuses. Why? Because it's a responsibility. If I get closer to Hashem, means I have to be more committed. If I get more inside, I have to have a better dressing. I have to have a better conversation. I have to improve my English, my Hebrew, my this, my that. So I rather to have someone just to talk on my behalf. So we see, we limiting ourselves because of laziness. We don't want to change. We want to stay in the same level that we were raised or brought up, and we are here. And since our connection to Hashem is limited, our connection to ourselves is going to be limited, and we don't expect too much from ourselves. We settle for minimum, and unfortunately, we trick ourselves, and the competition in this world is going to become even easy for us, and we don't know that there is a higher competition in the next world that's going to be harder. May Hashem help us to have our eyes open and Bezrat Hashem, to take advantage of every opportunity to do as much as mitzvot we can. We came to the class, why not? We shouldn't do chazara and reviewing later. Why we shouldn't continue and being ready before the next class? What is the topic of last week was? To be more involved, not just come and hear and go, to be more involved, to build our personal self-education, that not necessarily I have to just hear the class. Also, I could grow through the class. Also, I could go ahead and be ready for the class. And may Hashem help us to do that. Baruch Hashem le'olam. Amen.